Hi, folks. I wanted to add an addendum to a video I made the other day. This is sort of an expanded version 2 of an exit ticket strategy that you could use to do assessments for your students. Let's start with the unit planner. I have added a standards menu sidebar, and what this does is let you create your units here on your unit planner, decide what unit you're working on, build your unit lessons, and which standards, the questions, and type your questions. The way the standard sidebar works is you open up math, and in this case, we're a third grade teacher. So if I'm going to add a standard, I get into a cell and I say I want this to be NF2A. So I double click, my standard pops in there, and I could write a question that is based on that standard. So that's my unit planner. It lets me help with that. I have a roster of students, and we'll see in a moment how that works. We have a list of students, and we are getting, when we create a unit and push the tests out to the kids, we can see how they're doing. And we have a summary page that also shows us how students are doing. We'll show you how that works. So here's Unit 1. I have a list of 10 questions. The answers are here, and they're hidden from the students. And when my script runs, it creates a test for each student with their name on it for Unit 1, and it then locks all the cells except for column C. So the students can't type in here, and they can't open up and see the answers. So let's see how this works. I have some other scripts here. I'll show you real quick. I have a script that will show and hide all my units. So if I want to hide all my units, I would click that, and anything with the name unit in it disappears. And I have a script that hides all my summaries. And if I do that, all I have that I'm viewing right now is my roster. So if we wanted to create a set of tests for Unit 1, we would come here, we'd make practice tests, and it asks us which unit we want. We have to spell this exactly how the unit tab is created, and it's called Unit 1, and I say OK. And what's happening right now is it's creating a tab for every student, and it takes it a moment because it's creating the tab and then locking the cell references on all 14 of my students. As you can see, as we move through this, we're creating a tab for each student. And if I open this up on another browser with another user with edit rights, you'd find that you can't edit anything except for column C. So let's let this finish out here real quick. It should be finishing out. We have a couple more students in this list, and then we'll see what it looks like. And Ruby, and I think there's one more, Zach. Oh, Tegan, and then Zach. Okay, so in a moment the script will be finished. There we go. And now we have a list of our students, and we have, we're still showing Unit 1. I could come to my utilities and hide units. So right now when the students are ready to take the test, we're simply just looking at the students that, and each student will be on their own tab. They'll be taking their test themselves. Notice with my roster, if I come to Ainsley and she answers the first question, she says it's 70. I look at my roster, my graph starts to get drawn as Ainsley answers her questions, and it shows me how many correct she has, gives me her score. So now, as the teacher, I might also want to take a look at the Unit 1 summary. And if I do that, I might go ahead and drag that Unit 1 summary back over here. Now notice right now these are all broken. That's because these are some cell references. When these sheets went away and then they came back, these are broken. So we have a script that fixes that. We're going to restore formulas from summary. And there we go. And now we can see my errors have gone away, and I'm watching in real time. So notice if Avery comes in and answers and she gets that right, and Cam's working, and he starts over here, and he types in 3,000. You can notice on the Unit 1 summary, Ainsley average. So the teacher in real time is watching the students take the test and seeing how they're doing. When the test is all done, what we can do is then take this data, and we can use a utility to back up. First of all, we could back up the roster, and that's going to back that roster information up to an archive. Right now, what it would do is back up this data right here. But more importantly, we're going to back up this, and I'm going to back up my summary. Note that my script tells you to be sure to be on this summary tab. So I'm on Unit 1 summary. I go to utilities, and I back up the summary. Script runs, and it's done. And now what I want to do is I want to view my summary. Up my hidden sheets, I want to view the summary. And now you can see I've backed up that data as it stands, where we had a few of the students taking some tests, Ainsley, Avery, and Cam, and they have all gotten a few of these questions right. We've got 3 questions answered. But I have the data now in a format where I can summarize this, and then if I built another unit and ran that, we would end up with some more data. Now, once this is set up like this and I'm all done, ready to take Unit 2, my next step would be to run this, and I'm done with the test. Let's say all the students have taken the test, and we've backed up the summary, we've backed up the roster. Let's check and see if we backed up the roster. Let's show the archive, and the archive just backs up this data, and I'm not sure that that's been done, so I would just simply back up roster, and when I do that, it writes the data that we just took to my backup of the archive as well. So I have a backup of this summary and a backup of the archive. So we're all done. If we stay on this Unit 1 summary, notice these are formulas. They're indirect formulas that are pulling the data from these tabs. When I decide to delete the test, the very first thing that happens is this Unit 1 summary gets rid of the formulas and pastes the values only. So now I have a hard copy of what happened on Unit 1 summary. My student tests are now gone, but I've made a backup of the data that we collected, and I made a backup of the Unit 1 summary. Then we could come in here and we could show our units, and we have another unit in here just to show you. Already created a Unit 2. Unit 2 has some different questions. Of course, the answers are in the same place. And we have a Unit 2 summary. Now in this Unit 2 summary, again, I've taken this once before, so you can see I've already stored some data from a previous test. What I would have to do here when I got started to run this is I'd have to restore the formulas. That breaks everything, it looks like, but that's the way we want it for right now. Now we could go ahead and we could hide all of our summaries. And let's hide our summaries, get them out of the way. And let's also go ahead and hide all of our units. I'll hide our units. And let's go ahead and we could go ahead and hide the archive. I have a script that hides the archive as well. So we're back to just a plain old roster. Now I can go ahead and make practice sheets. And this is going to be Unit 2. What's going to happen now is I'm going to make a new sheet of Unit 2 for each and every student. And again, this takes a little bit of time. I'll pause while that gets... I paused while those were getting created. It takes about a minute to do that. Now you can see I've got all the students from Ainsley all the way over to Zach, and they all have their own sheet. We're on Unit 2, and there's no data yet because we haven't collected anything. But if Ainsley starts taking this test, let's see, we're going to be at 1350. Ainsley, what number is 10 less? 5013. We got that wrong. Let's do 5013. And let's go ahead and check my roster. Yep, Ainsley has 2 correct. Let's take a look at the hidden sheet. This would be the Unit 2 summary. Again, we have all these errors in here because we need to restore the formulas. So we simply restore the formulas from the summary. And there we go, and we can see Ainsley has 2 correct. She's got 20% so far. Again, this all happens in real time. Let's come over to Zach. Maybe Zach's going to get, 1350. Zach's going to get 5,013. Zach's going to get 3580. He's pumping along, getting a few of those things done. We can come in here and take a look at Unit 2 summary. And there we go, we see Zach's scores. So now that we're done with that, what we might want to do is back that up to my summary. Let's take a look what we have so far. Let's go here and show all of my summaries, just so I can open them all up and see them all. And then we're going to come over here and take a look at the summary. And we've only backed up Unit 1 so far, so let's go ahead and back up. Let's make sure we're on the Unit 2 summary. We have to be on this sheet before we do it. Backup summary. So we're going to back up Unit 2 summary, and that's because the script is using the active sheet. Come over here, and there we go. There's Unit 2, and again, we have a few questions there, slightly different. You can see this time Zach has 3 right. It was these other students. So as you see, once your students are doing this, now you have a full backup of the questions and how the students did on each question. When you're all done with that, you could go back to your Unit 2 summary, and you could go ahead with the utilities and delete the tests. And when you do that, it's going to write the data to the Unit 2 summary as values only, so we don't lose the data. So this is values only. And we could then go ahead and hide our summaries. And now we're just back to Unit 2. We could show all of our units. And what would end up happening when you're looking at these units is what you want to do is, if you're going to create a new unit, you would take any one of your units you've created and simply duplicate it, and then give it a new name, Unit 3, change the questions, and of course remember to change the answers. And then the next step would be to create one of the unit summaries. You could take any one of these unit summaries. Right now it doesn't matter because we can restore these formulas. So you could make a duplicate of Unit 1 summary, duplicate it, call it Unit 2 summary, change that name to Unit 2, put in your new questions, and then restore the formulas, and then you can put everything away. Let's hide my summaries. Let's hide our units, and what should bring us back to nothing but a roster. And we could start all over again, make practice sheets, and create a new set of tests for Unit 3 that we've just created. So that's a summary of what this sheet does. It lets you create some exit ticket programs to let your get an assessment of your students, but it's all done digitally. It's all corrected digitally and collects the data for you on your summary sheet so you can assess how your students are doing.